at all. I remember there was a neighbor with her all the way until she went to bed, and the neighbor actually was reporting when the lights went off in the house and whatnot. And I wondered, I kept asking, who's this neighbor person? As I asked around, I discovered that the neighbor, I can't confirm this, but I was from a source told me that the neighbor is estranged from her husband, and the husband was not allowed home that night, and that there was some acrimony with the neighbors. Does that shed some light in some direction that you guys think police should be following? I mean, Mark, you've already sentenced the mom. Don't you think they should be looking nearby, since this was this was somebody that broke in from the outside? The lights were found on in the house. Don't you think that would be following leads like this?
Let me make one thing terribly clear. I haven't convicted her at all, and I hope, quite frankly, I hope that her story is true, and I'll tell you why. Because statistically, it's less than a fraction of 1% of those who report the child missing that actually goes missing by a stranger like she's alleging. So statistically, it doesn't look likely that her story is true. But if the child does go missing by a stranger, they usually get the child back. That's what the statistics are showing. So I hope that her story is true. I'm not convicting her. What I'm saying right now is there isn't proof beyond a reasonable doubt. If this went to court, as we learned with Casey Anthony, we don't know how this happened. One way or the other, we don't know. So this is clearly reasonable doubt, and that's why I hope investigators are taking their time.
And I agree. I agree with you, Mark. We've become so accustomed to seeing a mom, not only that, but somebody who's accused of something egregious, lying a lie. We've almost come to expect that. And so, Lauren, given that Mark is condemning this woman, Lauren, do you have any opinion about this case?
Poor Mark, we're ganging up on you tonight, Mark. No, but Dr. Drew, you really hit home with something that's been bugging me, and the neighbor knowing what time the lights went off. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, a neighbor could also know the floor plan to your house. And a neighbor could also potentially get past dogs barking because the dogs would be familiar with the neighbor. And I'm not saying I'm accusing the neighbor. What I'm saying is that there are other people in the vicinity that I think the police should also look at in addition to the parents. Look, first and foremost, we're trying to find this baby. No one is safe.
And by the way, you're absolutely right. There's a baby here. And Mark, again, I want to thank you for the statistics. Obviously, I'm just busting your chops a little bit. Jim, last word for you. I've got about 30 seconds left.
Yeah, I think that neighbor is really essential. We don't know exactly which neighbor it is, but the very next house next door, we know police have been searching in there. They took dogs in there just a few days ago and came out with some bags. We understand it's not evidence, but material that the search dogs use when they go to another location. I think that neighbor is very essential. And the two boys that were also in the home with her, they won't let them be interviewed either by police. They might know the most of anybody if the mom really was that